If you like your food covered in all the right things, you just arrived at the right place.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Cooking with Shay, and today we're making smothered turkey legs. I know lately I've been making a lot of smothered things, but this one right here, this is a super lazy, easy, and simple recipe. This is more of a I don't feel like doing all of that today. I'm just gonna cook whatever. I have an even grocery shop type of meal because one day I was bored and I didn't know what to make, and I just thought about throwing a bunch of things together, and I said, I'm going to try that. The only difference is this time I added the bell peppers. Last time I only made my gravy and smothered my turkey legs and only added onion and garlic. But this time I said, I'm going to throw a little bit of bell pepper. So I took about half of 1/4 of oil and put it in a container, and I put some mustard. Yes, yellow mustard, I know. Half a lemon. Make sure you get all the juices from there. This is how I came up with that recipe. I was really bored and I said, mustard and lemon might taste good. And I literally tried it and I said, I'm going to cook some turkey or some chicken with that. So I did. I also had to have a packet of chicken bouillon, the Goya brand. I really, really like this one. As well as some garlic powder and onion powder. I added a teaspoon of each. Except for the chicken bouillon, I added half a packet. I could have added an entire packet and not season my gravy as much, but we only did half today. I also added 1 teaspoon of black pepper. I love including black pepper and everything. It's a must. Then I mix all of that together because, like I said, this recipe is super simple, super easy, and super lazy, so you don't require that much. I also went ahead and washed and took the skin of my turkey legs and poke holes into them because I do not want it to be dry. I want it to be fully seasoned, and I also don't like the skin almost of my stuff, like meats that I put in the oven, so I always remove the skin. I think one day I'm going to show you guys a video on my little hacks for the kitchen, like how I take the skin of my turkey legs. All I do is pull it back, grab a paper towel, and just yank it type of thing. I seen this from my little grandma on TikTok. I wish I could find the video. Anyways, I'm yapping too much, guys. So I made sure that I got the seasoning in every single hole, however you want to call it, of my turkey, because I did not want any unflavored bland turkey. I wanted all the flavors to be infused. I like flavor. I like things to be marinated, and plus, I didn't let my meat marinate this time like I usually do. I went straight to cooking this after that. Usually, if you have watched any of my videos, I like to marinate my meat overnight or 2 hours before. That way I know all of the flavors and seasonings can go ahead and infuse together. And I promise you, the food tastes 10 times better when you let it marinate for at least a couple hours. And I know I like to marinate my meat in all my videos without gloves. I just feel like when you use glove, it doesn't taste the same. You can't marinate the meat the same. It could be a mental thing, though. But this is how I do it. And yes, I do wash under my nails after I'm done seasoning my meat like this. So don't worry about that. This is the next step that I said that it was very lazy. I told you guys, I put it on the stove and let each side cook or sear for about 5 minutes each on high heat because I was being lazy. I did not want to have this in the oven for more than an hour and a half, an hour 45 minutes. Since I had the turkey legs on high heat, I didn't want them to burn, so I added a little bit of water to the leftover seasonings that were in my bowl. And I just, pour a little bit of water on top, just so it can cook a little bit. And I'm going to let you guys hear the sizzling. It sounded so pretty. I know you heard that, and if you are a cook, you know you love that sound. I flipped it over a couple times because, like I said, I didn't really want it to burn. I also wanted it to get a little bit of color before I put it in the oven because, like I said, this was quick and easy and lazy. So then I added all of my bell peppers and onions into the pan because I wanted them to saute a little bit before I made my gravy mix and put everything in the oven. I feel like sometimes when we just put everything or like our vegetables on top of our food before we put it in the oven, everything doesn't infuse together and they just cook very weird. So I wanted to make sure that these sweated out a little bit. Then it was time to make my gravy. And like I said it before on my smothered turkey chops video, you make your gravy how you make yours, and I made mine how I make mine. I wanted it thicker, so that's why I added more flour. And I went ahead and mixed it up before I added it to there because I didn't want the flour to clump up and then make it a mess. Yes, this gravy came out super thick, and I know you see the color here and don't have no hope. But trust the process because you saw at the beginning of the video how beautiful it looked. It was nice golden brown. So I moved everything around here and let it stay on the stove for maybe like 2 minutes top. I let it get a little bit thick before I put it in the oven. And I was moving everything around. That way everything can be infused together. I wanted to make sure that the bell peppers and the onions were also covered in the, in the smotheriness in the gravy before I put it in the oven. Because the first time I ever tried to smother anything, it was a total failure. My meat was not in that gravy, and it was just dry. And that's why I said I don't like dry food. Then I cover it up with foil, put it in the oven for an hour and 45 minutes at 375 degrees, and this is how it ended up looking. I know it looks sad, and I know it looks a little bit dry, but I promise you it was not dry. Look how beautiful it looked. I did uncover the turkey legs for the last 45 minutes. That's why it looks this golden. I did not put it on broil or anything because it was not needed. But the meat did not burn. It came out perfect. When I say I devour all 3 of them, I had them with some mashed potatoes, and this is how it ended up looking. I'm trying to learn how to plate my food, guys, so don't judge me. Also, let me know if you guys enjoyed this voiceover, and if you tried this recipe at home, let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys next Tuesday.